Hello everyone, I thought I'd give you a bit of a walk through the website platform that we use to build all of our websites with. Unlike many who use WordPress, I've been using Joomla pretty much since it was originally created. It was originally called Mambo, which was closed off and then forked off to Joomla. We're now on version 6. I'm currently working at the end of version 5, and I started using, let's say, back in version 1, which was a few decades ago now, so it's certainly been around a long time. We use Joomla for many reasons. One, because to me and the clients I've got, it makes sense to work with. They seem to understand it well. I understand it well, and that obviously helps us work with you as a client to make sure that you can get the best from it yourselves. We also don't need to add a lot to it. So all the designs that we build are original and unique to you. So we don't use templates, themes, anything like that. And we start with an empty website, which is what I've got here. So I've got this configured to have all the extensions and plugins that I need, all of them set up with the right settings that I believe should be in place before we roll this out. So for any new client website we start with, we've got this empty build that I clone, and we then build on an empty site that's pre-configured for all the core stuff before we start going. So when you log into Joomla as an administrator or a user yourselves, this is what it looks like at the back end. I do hide a lot of this for most of my clients because they don't need to see the vast majority of the setup of Joomla, just the bits that they want to use. So everything within Joomla in terms of the content is linked through the menu system. So obviously on the empty website, I've only got the home menu, but I can build this home menu out and add new links like the privacy cookies policy there, any of your content pages throughout. All of the pages that we build are nearly all within a platform called Dreamshaper SP Page Builder. And all of this stuff like that is managed underneath components. So SP Page Builder Pro and then Pages. Obviously being an empty website, there's not a lot here. However, this is your editing software. So any change that you might want to make as a customer of mine, you can log into any of this, edit any of the pages as like a grid layout. I can add elements such as images. I can drop an image onto this. I can change the row to be 3 columns and then add another image on the right. I can add a text block in the middle as a complete example structure. I can edit any of these elements with this little pencil icon. So I can replace the image. I can upload it from my computer, find another one, double click it. It uploads. I can select it and put it in there. I can edit the text block in a similar way. I can put whatever I want. As soon as I've saved that, that's live on the front page of the website. If I save that now, whatever it's going to look like, not what we do, but that's what we've got there. So for yourselves to change anything, new picture, click into this and replace it, upload a new picture as I've just shown, drop it in, and there we go. Maybe one of your staff members has changed the biography, you can drop into their text box for them and edit it, whatever you want to do. So all the pages are built within this block structure. You can, if you prefer, you can use the front end editor. So I can, is this going to work? Not going to work. You can log in and actually visually edit this website as well. So you can see exactly what you're doing rather than do it just with the back end grid layout. Some people prefer that one. Some people don't. It's entirely up to yourselves, but it's there as an option. Within pages as well, we can do a lot of the schema work. We can do custom CSS. We can do all of the open graph imagery, titles. So when you share this page on Facebook on the menu, it pulls through all this type of content through your images, your text and stuff like that. So that's that one. It's not complicated. Literally, if you can use Word on your computer, you can use this one to make changes as you need to do it. From there, we get a bit more complex. So all the websites that we build have got backup software built in. I use and I have used the Keeper Backup Pro for, again, a few decades now. This lets us manage backups very, very easy. So one, we can run manual backups, and two, we can also automate them through our hosting platform. And every backup that we run on your live site is also copied across to our cloud storage, and we take a secondary copy down to a local NAS that I've got here. So at any one time, we've got multiple versions of your website backups in place, which we can restore very quickly. I've also got secondary and third copies of those backups as an absolute, cover all for anything that potentially could ever go wrong. Not that things tend to. Our hosting server also takes its own backup. So not only do we have a backup of that virtual server itself, the full thing, we've also got backups within there of each website as well that are on a secondary server. So across all of our clients, we've got multiple ways to restore a website if, in the vague chance there was an issue, we need to do that. For online forms, for contact forms and other reasons why you might want to request data from customers, we use convert forms from Tassos. Convert forms is basically, it pretty much does anything we ever want to do. Not only is it really easy to build the forms themselves and add the fields, it's also really, really easy to add connections from convert forms through to your mailing platforms, CRMs, that type of stuff. We've done links with Zoho, MailingLite, Sendinblue, MailChimp, many others that we can submit form data to so that they don't just have to come to you as an email. This is, Tassos' stuff is excellent, and we've used it for a long time. Your cookies are all managed through a cookie policy software tool. This also allows us to be completely compliant with Google Consent Mode 2, so that cookies and stuff from any search engine or whatever and tracking scripts can be blocked and only allowed on acceptance by the visitor to your website. Again, I've used this for a long time. Pretty simple, but also pretty complex in terms of what it can behave and what it can allow us to do. Structured data. So schema markup is something that's been around for a long time. It might not mean much to you as a website user. You will not see the data that this creates. However, structured data allows a website page to have data referred to within the code that is clear and laid out in a way that both search engine, nowadays AI, can pick up a lot more easily than having to scan the whole website page. So we can link this to not only your pages to describe services, your content, we can also link it to FAQ pages so that the questions and answers become specifically marked up as questions and answers, which is really useful for general search. It's becoming even more useful for AI search because it knows really quickly then if it scans that page, oh, this is some Q&As, let's look at those, and it knows exactly what the questions and answers specifically are. We've also recently had the option within here to enable AI agents content. So although it's questioning, as some people think this is a great idea, some people don't, what this does is it creates a content only view of your website pages. So if an AI agent comes along to scan your website, it can, if it chooses to, check the code of that website page, and it will be given an alternate link to view, which is just the written content and structure and links to the images within there. So rather than AI's got to scan your whole page and understand the layout and the structure of that and how it's put together, this gives it an empty text only version of your website page with none of the additional coding in there. So it's a little additional tick box that I believe is worthwhile, because any little helps at the moment in terms of AI and getting the visibility that you guys need. From there, we've got JCH Optimize Pro. Again, the Pro link in the word there is key. We don't use many free extensions. Akiba's Professional, which is licensed, and we pay annually for that one as a developer. We license Convert Forms as a developer from Tassos. We license the structured data. We license JSH Optimize Pro, RS Firewall, and others that have come through as well. So they're all commercial licensed software, because they just do more than the free versions, and the support for the paid versions is almost second to none in terms of the ones that we use. So I'm very picky in what I install to my websites for clients, and that's why what we've got is, in my opinion, the best we can have. So JCH Optimize Pro is basically a page speed tool. So this will compress and cache the pages on your website. It allows us to link it up to a CDN so that we can serve the content on your site from multiple servers across the world, which means if you have got a US visitor to your website or a UK, vice versa, they will get content served from a server in their vicinity. So we don't have to throw UK hosted imagery and stuff like that across to a US web client on their browser. It will load that content from a US server, which just makes it load more efficiently in terms of our carbon footprint, and also faster in terms of how website speed is for those page load times. There's an awful lot in here. I won't go through all of it entirely. We can exclude pages, we can exclude specific JavaScript, we can exclude specific CSS, specific components within the website, just to be sure that everything loads perfectly without any issues. And it's generally been, it really does have a huge impact on page speed. Without the box, most platforms will not cache pages. So a page cache basically will create, when somebody loads your website without this, the hosting server that the website lives on has to generate that page through database queries, some PHP script running, and then deliver the content to your browser, which takes processing time, and puts a load on the server that we might not need to do. By taking a cached copy of that page, it takes a snapshot of that script that runs and keeps that snapshot to deliver to people that look for that page again. So next time somebody views that page, if it's been cached, that browser does not have to wait for the server to process the PHP and the database access. It just gets delivered that pre-written page, which is significantly quicker to load for them than the other way around. So that's a huge purpose for this tool for us. It makes sure your website is as efficient as we can make it. From there, so sitemaps. You can, within any website and your Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools, submit a sitemap. So a sitemap basically is just a very, very simple URL that lists the page on your website and the links to them. If you've got a big website, these become quite beneficial because it really helps Google and other platforms understand the structure of your website, how all the menus are linked, how all the pages relate to each other, the hierarchy of your drop downs and stuff like that. And it gives Google, for example, a starting point to begin scanning your website from when that's submitted. So this is there by default. We add a link to the sitemap URL in your sitemap file, in your robots.txx file as well, which makes sure that any website robots and AI agents that might scan your website will read the robots.txt file, realize it's a sitemap, and potentially visit that to understand your website more easily, and also which other pages to scan. So that's another little SEO boot, little bonus in there to help things out. RS Firewall is a software firewall, which again we've used for many, many years now. It just adds another little layer of protection over the top of what our server hosting already provides in terms of the hardware firewall that's there. So we do things in here like block admin users from being created unless we give permission. It blocks changes to admin users without permission. It stops injections of scripts that perhaps there's a Joomla update has not yet fixed. So it kind of just adds that little layer of protection to your website without adding any noticeable overloads or overhead to the performance. So that's kind of, as a core, everything that we've got there. There's lots of other bits in here. All the menu items by default, we can set all of the SEO data you might need. We've got page titles for your browser titles. We've got your meta descriptions. We can set the robots, no index, no follow, whatever we need to. Your general system has got site name. It's got the core meta description. Again, we can set index listings on there. We've got so many more things behind this that I'm not going to show you through today, that just allow Joomla as a platform out the box to deliver more than most people need, less extensions needed than many other CMS platforms like WordPress to deliver what we need it to do for you, and also for yourselves as a customer, what you need from a website to make it easy to manage. That was really a very, very quick whistle stop tour through things. I've said I am quite a lot, and I keep telling myself I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'd be interested in what you think. For those of you that haven't used Joomla before, is there anything you'd like to see as a customer or a potential customer, as a client? What would you look for in a website that perhaps you'd be interested in finding out? How does that work? What do we do? How do you use the website yourselves? Joomla's there. As I say, we don't touch the surface of a lot of things it can do, but certainly we do utilize a lot of the native features for that reason, because they're just really, really good. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Please do drop any comments into the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, from your thoughts on all of this and anything you'd like to see going forward. Thank you. Take care.